The problem that we run into here is another one altogether. And it is very simply that the English word, which is in the King James, is that there was a helpmeet. A helpmeet. And to be fair, in 1611, that wasn't a bad translation. In fact, it was probably as good a translation as they could come up with. The problem with it is that in English, helper indicates a subservient or a subsidiary or an inferior status. For example, in a plumber's union, there's the plumber and there's the plumber's helper. And the plumber's helper will take directions from the plumber. And so this notion of a helper in English that we have, specifically with that word, so she was his helper, sounds like he's in charge and she's the helper. But that's not the way it really is in the Hebrew. And I'm going to give you some examples of this because we went through already the difference. Let me give you an example of the word help, the same word, the word ezer in Hebrew. There we go. Well, let's get this up. All right. This is from Deuteronomy 33, verse 26. There is none like the God of Jeshurun riding through the heavens as your help. So here we have this picture of God riding through the heavens as your help. So God, and the word help here is ezer. We'll get to that. This is the same root word. This is God is your helper. Well, and in fact, I think there are something like 20 or 21 times in the Old Testament where the word ezer occurs, and 16 of them, they're picturing God. So that tells you right away that it's not possible for ezer to be subsidiary because God is never subordinate to anybody in the Bible, especially the Old Testament. He is so holy and so far off that he's almost unreachable. Yes, there are some other. He's talked to Moses, a man talks to his friend. There are other things, but because of the typical idea of Old Testament gods, God has to reinforce that he is holy and he is far different than the other gods. But here he is, riding through the heavens as your help. Another way of looking at this, is really kind of a cliche from the old Western movies. There's unlike the God of Jeshurun riding through the heavens as your rescuer, because that's really what it means by your help. And think of the cavalry coming, at the last minute and saving everybody. That is the ezer here. Okay? That's what that word right here is ezer. There is none like the God of Jeshurun riding through the heavens as your ezer, your rescuer. Now, this is exactly the same word that is used for the woman in Genesis 2. So the idea that she's somehow inferior or somehow secondary just doesn't match up. Almost every time, I think 16, 17 times, God is the ezer. God is the helper. God is the rescuer. This is very much within the meaning of the word. And that's very much the picture that's being painted here in Deuteronomy 33:26. Now, I'm not going to show you all 16 verses because that would be dull and repetitive. But I'm going to show you a couple more. Psalm 70, verse 5. But I am afflicted and needy, the psalmist says. Hasten to me, O God. You are my help and deliverer. O Lord, do not delay. Well, you can see this is clearly a cry of desperation, a cry of someone who is in deep need. And so but you can guess already that this word up here, help, is ezer. I am afflicted and needy. Hasten to me, O God. You are my ezer and my deliverer. O Lord, do not delay. So once again, you can see that rescuer would be a very appropriate word to describe this situation. So the ezer and the other part, kenegdo, is just simply the one that's appropriate to him. Adam needs a mate. He needs a human mate. And so that's the woman who is created for him is his mate. She is the ezer, the strong partner. That's one of my favorite translations of it. She is the helper, but she's the rescuer. She is the defender. She's an equal partner in this. She's not superior. She's not inferior. She is simply half of this human couple that that God created originally. That's what that's about.